Hello, I'm Erma, aka Media Adaptation, and welcome back to Moderation, where all means for a game. It's Saturday, so that means it's time for more Erma. And to start off with, last week when we did our shoutouts, we missed two names, because of how I wrote the script. So, an apology to Alan Gartson and Martin Kelly. Sorry for the omission. Oh, and we also got some fan art by Adam Yokai from the Amino community. It's always lovely when someone takes the time to do this for us. So, thanks for the group shot. And we got another one 2 weeks ago for Ada's birthday from Libya XY. Again, big thanks to both of you. Also, we got another main entry in the comic. The Recounted Days, Part 2 of 4. Yeah, so it looks like we're only going to get a few of these before they go into their Halloween special. Anyway, let's begin. Erma seems to be enjoying herself here. At least a little more, now that Emiko has let her and Yori's girls walk around the safer parts of town. I think she hasn't had the best time with those two, but it at least looks like they're making progress. She tolerates them more, that's a plus. Though, it seems like she's having a harder time getting to know the other kids that are local here. Just think about it, we can easily snatch old man Fuji's stash, and he won't even be fast enough to stop us. What are we going to use that money for anyway? It's chump change. I don't know, but at least it's something for us to do. Fair enough, I'm down. Come on, cuz, don't be a slouch now, let's go. Excuse me? Sorry to bother you, don't know if you remember us. We just wanted to thank you for helping us a couple days ago. Never would have thought we'd be saved by Emiko Irimoto's kid. Emiko is your mom, right? Really? Is it true that she overpowered a Egasha Dukuro just for fun? Or how about the time she haunted half of Osaka? Has she really met Dracula? Does she taste like chicken? Whoa guys, give her some room to breathe, will you? Oh, our bad. I guess we got carried away. Yeah, it's just that we've heard so much about her. She just seems so awesome. That and a certain one of us might have a crush on her. Shut up, Ibiki. We're kind of fans. Sorry if it sounds weird. There's just so many stories about her, especially of her abilities. Say, pardon me for being curious, but do you have any abilities yourself? Easy there, Dingy. She more likely doesn't. She is part human. You don't know that. Her mom is Emiko after all. Whoa. That was all you? That was just... I don't even know how to describe it. I'd say pretty awesome sums it up nicely. You gotta show us more from where that came from. You should hang out with us. We have a cozy little spot by the shrine. I think you really like it. Ah! Oh man, they're here? Heads up, everyone run. Get out of here! You come around here again, and we'll be sure you can't walk for a week. You got that? Scram! You're lucky we got to you in time, cuz. Seriously, when are you gonna learn? Don't mess with the pests. Now let's get out of here. Those guys are starting to make this place reek. Whatever this family has become, whatever reputation it's gained, there's no doubt that it's taken its toll on everyone, even her. Okay, I do want to ask what the heck happened in their past to make the twins like that. Probably has something to do with their dad. And also we get another reminder of an older yokai that we couldn't figure out before. The one that asked if she tastes like chicken. We covered the rest before in our Yokai of Erma video, if you need a refresher course. And finally confirmation that Emiko does have powers. For the life of me, people keep asking me this question, and I can't recall a single time in the comic where I've even seen her use her ESP. I remember the one time she went rage mode to get her to take a bath, but nothing so extreme that we've seen Erma do. So I guess maybe she is her equal. But anyway, we got two more bits of news. First off, we got 3 new shirt designs in the merch store, which are all great. Personally, her crazy one, I think the eyes should have been a bit more slanted, like they are in her rage mode, but that's just me nitpicking. Also, we got a nice little mini comic promoting it, with them lining up to play dodgeball, and Terry doing the sales pitch, only for it to make him an easy target. Also, talking about their store, the next volume of Tales of Outcast still isn't up to pre-order, which is odd because it normally comes out about a week after the previous comic. And onto our final bit of news, is the soon-to-launch beta for the first part of their game. This will be just available to the Indiegogo backers, but they did say they're working on a way for other people to test it as well. While they didn't give it an exact date, the way the letter was worded makes it seem like that they're aiming for somewhere in October. And aside from that, the only thing else we got is a few nice pictures from Smash Bros. That he posted on his Facebook and Twitter. Wait, does this technically count as cyberstalking? I feel like it kinda does. Also, there's this one picture of her and Froppy, but I have no idea when it was first posted, but it was too cute to pass up. So anyway, it's finally time for our Q&A. And like last time, we're going to start off with a random question that was asked by the Erma community on Amino, and the inquiry was asking how tall she is. This is an important piece of information, in case we want to do some exact measurements on how fast she is. Given the fact that she still has the same teacher, means that she's still in the first grade, making her around 5 or 6. Since we already saw her birthday, which wasn't kind enough to actually give us a number, I'd stick with the latter. So the average height for a 6-year-old is around 45 inches, or 3.7.5 feet, or 1.143 meters. And with that out of the way, I'll turn the questions over to our co-host Ada.
What class would she be in the Holy Grail War?
The deathmatch style game from the Fate series. Each round, they can only have one member of each class. And of those 7, we have the Saber, meaning our sword class, Lancer, Archer, Berserker, Caster, and Assassin, who could also use a blade if they want. And finally Rider, who I believe would be their cavalryman. Anyway, back to the question. In her base form, I'd go with Archer, as her ESP abilities would classify as ranged projectiles. And then, of course, in her rage mode would be Berserker for obvious reasons.
What has she met Kana from Dragon's Maid?
I think they get along nicely, but if it ever came down to a fight, I think Kana would win, because she can pull off similar moves to her while they were just playing around. So trying to figure out how she'd do in an actual fight is pretty scary.
What if she found a panda cub?
I think she'd take it home with her, and Cyrus would have to learn to share the spotlight.
What has she met Yumu from Toho?
Again, these two are a lot alike, as she's a half human and half phantom. Although she is easily manipulated by others, so a fight could happen. But I gauge their powers at about the same, so I'm going with a tie.
What if she was in Dead Man Wonderland?
Wait, the Deadly Theme Park or the fighting tournament? Well, if it's the park part, then she'd probably enjoy everything, as pretty much nothing there could harm her. She might not even realize that she's in danger. And as for the fighting, well, still the same answer. Again, not much there can hurt her. Some of their best fighters only comes around the strength of her trio.
Can't she beat Jason from Friday the 13th?
Yes, easily. But then again, why would she?
Can't she beat a Super Saiyan version of me?
Well, assuming that you are indeed an average person, then I put your power level at 5. Super Saiyan on the official wiki is a times 50 multiplier, putting your power level at 250, which then puts you just under base form King Piccolo, who was 260. And given that we did our Dragon Ball numbers a few weeks ago, we concluded that King Piccolo was the last fighter that she can beat, meaning that you lose by a factor of 10.
Can't she be hypnotized by the Ministry of Joy?
After doing some research in this process, this is technically not hypnosis, but actually more like conditioning, a process by which the brain is tricked into thinking a certain way. And since being part ghost doesn't affect how your brain actually processes stuff, so that means yes, it still would be effective on her. We're not going about how long this would take or how they would keep her from escaping, just that if implemented, it would eventually work.
Can't she beat Kuratsuchi from Bleach?
Well, most of his powers are science-based, and a lot of his other natural abilities are pretty standard. He's a lot like Batman in that regard. He can think of a way to deal with any situation that he's seen before. But as to working on the fly, given her speed and power, you need to use his Bankai to even stand a chance. But I get the feeling that that would fail too. Even his get out of jail free card, his ability to transform to a liquid that can't be hurt, her ESP could easily hold that and, I don't know, chuck it to the sun. So I'm going to give the point to Erma.
What would happen if she came across Tower Pair from Nier Automata?
B2 and 9S, a pair of androids with high combat skills. If they meet, I think they'd be a bit confused about what she is, but I don't think they'd see her as a threat. As for a fight, they have a nice mix of long and short range, but it's nothing we haven't seen before. I believe we did our final boss fight a while ago, and gave her the win. These two are super skilled in fighting against other androids. But since she isn't one, it cuts back on a good chunk of their power. And the base fact is that their durability is still that of metal, which we saw get pushed to their limits in their first mission. So I'm still gonna back the Ghost.
What if Erma had a coming-of-age storyline?
You mean kinda like a time skip at the end of a series or a what-if spin-off? I'd get behind it. They're both good ideas for one of their Tales of Outcast comics.
How would Erma and her family end up with the Reapers from Ark Survival?
Well, we've discussed the weird properties of the world that Erma takes place in, where all franchises are canon. So they would have to exist somewhere in this world. As to how it would play out, I think that her family would go on a beach vacation on an island. I see Erma wandering off and then come back riding a Reaper.
What if she met Rick and Morty?
Well, what are the scientific applications of ghosts being real? But then again, they did meet Ghost Train in their Avengers parody, so Rick probably wouldn't care less. Morty would probably get a kick out of it, before having to deal with an existential crisis about the nature of human mortality.
What if she had to face Scrooge McDuck, both versions?
Both of them have a ton of experience in fighting ghosts, and if I had to choose which one I think would beat her, I'd probably go with the older version, as he has access to a lot of their bizarre tech that can counter a lot of Erma's powers. Don't get me wrong, as I like the new one as well. David Tennant is still one of my favorite doctors, and is an excellent choice to take up the mantle, but in a fight, he lacks a hard counter to her.
Can't she beat Albert Wesker?
Time for some Resident Evil. He does have the foot speed to keep up with her, and with the virus, he can duplicate a lot of her powers. But I say he'll lose in the long run due to his durability. At the end of RE5, he dies in lava, and Erma is seen to be immune to natural elements, even building a sandcastle with him. Heck, does that mean she can technically make lava herself by using her powers on a rock to superheat it?
If Erma was a dinosaur, what kind would she be?
I'd say the Acleosaurus. Small, kind of cute, but very dangerous.
Can't she beat the monster in the movie called From Beyond?
Wow, that's an obscure film. It's nowhere near as bad as something like The Thing. It has a low defense, and so-so telepathy. She could pretty much one-shot it. It's also weak to explosions. Still don't know how she did that one, but it is still technically in her moveset.
What if she met Pichetto from the Black Art?
I think they'd get along. All he wants to do is paint the town red. And we all know that Erma tried that once herself. But if it came down to a fight, he'd technically win since he can't die.
Can't she give Chica's magic rainbow nightmares?
The final boss of FNAF World. I don't think that thing actually sleeps, but if it worked on Freddy, then maybe.
What if she meets Guts from Berserk?
Again, I don't believe he'd see her as a threat. And Erma idolizes anything resembling a knight in armor.
Can Erma beat Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit without using her powers?
The basic setup is the same as the end of the movie. All the items are in play, and Judge Doom still loses to a normal human. But the question also states that Erma is still a toon herself, so the dip becomes a double-edged sword. While Doom is still granted all of his powers, he'll control most of the fight. But I think I'd still see it playing out a lot like the film, but that would mean that it would end in a double KO. So my vote is for a tie.
What if Erma meets the family from Grimtail?
A what-if continuation of Billy and Mandy, mixed with some other cartoons and comics. It's a bit all over the place, but that's kind of its charm. So I think she kind of fit right in.
What if she met our group from Transformers Prime?
Well, they did cross over with Ghostbusters a few times in the comics, so they know a lot about ghosts. So I see her trying to ride around on Optimus's head.
Does Sam have the same powers as the ghostwriter from Danny Phantom?
The ability to change reality to suit your will? Well, I don't think he has anything like that kind of power. But at the very least, he can change the course of current events to fit his favor. But that might be more due to his own personality. But now all I could think of is, what if Sam was actually the one pulling the strings behind everything the whole time? No one would see that coming.
Would her family get along with the one from I Married the Ring Girl?
Well, if they got along with Kayako's family. And Rei and Riku are far nicer. So yeah, easily. And if they're going to be doing commissions again this year for Halloween, I'm going to request that one.
What if Erma got hold of the mask of Loki?
Well, when we're talking about the mask, the first question that always comes to mind is it the movie, cartoon, or comic? the movie and cartoon are pretty much the same, granting the wielder their deepest personal persona, which hers would pretty much be the same as Jim Carrey's. Wacky, but non-lethal. The scenario that comes to mind is kind of like Cuba Pete, the dance sequence with all the cops. But if we're talking about the comic, on the other hand, then God help us all, as it always turns out bad and corrupt despite the intention. But with a crossover to the DC universe, it was proven that the wielder can reject the mask, which is how I see it playing out. And that about does it for this video. If you have any other ideas like seeing made into a video, then please post it down in the comments below, and we'll add it to our next viewer request week.
It's now time for the part of the show where we ask you to help us appease the YouTube algorithm by dropping a like, share, or comment. It helps out much more than you'd think.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, then it's very much appreciated. And if you'd like to support this channel, then please visit our Patreon. Link will be down in the description below. Even if you can't give a lot, every little bit helps. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. Anyway, I'm Runya.
And I'm Ada.
Reminding you to take life in moderation.
Weep not, poor children, for life is this way.